Welcome back to our program, your favorite program, our Amba history. Remember, our Amba history is out to teach you, correct you, inform you, and warn you. Because many Ambazonians do not know why we are where we are. But today, I want to inform you, Ambazonians, we have our elderly person in the house, and we have one of the brains behind what is going on in Ambazonia, who stood his grounds. And today, he will not be talking on legality, even though history is part of legality, but he will be telling us history. Please, if you have your questions, get ready, send your questions, or you can call and ask your question. I want to inform the Ambazonian people that Barrister John Fronso, the only and famous Barrister John Fronso that you know, is in the house. But before I bring him in, let's listen to this, my very wonderful brother. He says, please, don't bring in Barrister without me telling the people of Ambazonia that he knows our name, Abba Father. Okay, brother, come in, and then we'll bring in brother Barrister John with us. Thank you.
Almighty Father, Papa, now you love me so, and you know my name. I give you glory, Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. Abba Father, you know me, you know my name. You know my name, oh Daddy, you know me, you know my name. I can see your hand in my life. Lord, I see your love upon me. Every time I look around, now you are the see. Every time I turn around, now you are the view. I dey hear your voice in my heart. Lord, I feel your love over me. Every time I look around, now you are the see. Every time I turn around, now you are the pillow. Abba Father, you know my name. Papa, you know me.
Thank you very much, Reverend, for reminding the people of Ambazonia and reminding us that we should not worry. Our Father knows our name, and that is the God we are talking about, that Ambazonia has been handed over to him. And for that reason, he declares that he knows the name of Ambazonia. So don't be afraid. 2023, 2000 of the year of our Lord, we are here back in the studios of ABC on our Amba program with our beloved patriot. He's of age. I'll allow him to greet the people of Ambazonia. I wouldn't greet you for him. So right now, Barrister, over to you. Greet the people of Ambazonia, your people, before we go into our history.
Pastor, thank you very much. Thank you very much. I extend fraternal greetings this morning or this afternoon to our people in the home front, to our restoration forces fighting to defend our people, For every other Ambazonian living on this planet Earth, I greet you all. It's a new year and a year of acceleration. 2023, it's a very important year for us. Our head of state, our president has declared and said it's a year of acceleration. I bring you good tidings from the interim government. I bring you good tidings from all the Ambazonians living in the United States, particularly Maryland, here where I live. And I will be talking to you this morning on the invitation of Pastor Komando, my good friend Pastor Komando. And you will hear from us. I'm here to listen to you, to receive any questions that you may have. Thank you very much. Have a good day and Happy New Year to every Ambazonian. Over to you, Pastor.
Thank you very much, Barrister. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming. Yeah, just to put up what is at the front now, we have been talking about our Amba history, making a clear difference between La Republic of Cameroon and the Federal Republic of Ambazonia. And this 1st January, which was their Independence Day, that they have hidden for so long a time, I personally sent Independence Day greetings to some La Republicans whom I know, and they were saying, no, it's bon année. I said, no, it's not just bon année. It is Independence Day of La Republic of Cameroon that they have been hiding, because they know that we, the Ambazonians, we know who they are. And so if they celebrate their Independence Day, it will be very, very clear, as it is very obvious, that two countries that came together and does not have independence the same day, there will be an eyebrow raise to make sure that the Republic knows where they are standing. So I've been sending happy anniversary of their independence to many of them in this year, 2023. Now, Barrister, coming back home to you, we know that from 1961 right down to 2023, where we are, a lot of things have happened. But we have very brief time to be here. And so we don't want to stretch back. Now, we want just to get very clear, in 2017, when you became the man of the hour and defiled all the games and the plans and the tactics of La République du Cameroon, and when the time was up, God rescued you. When you left America and you were going to enter the lion's den, a word came and you had a U-turn in a particular country, and you came right back to America where you are now. That is part of the Ambazonian history. Please, could you just briefly tell us what happened when you were fighting ferociously for our people, and this game plan was planned against you? And by God, the God of heaven, whom Ambazonians worship, you are here today talking. Give us a very brief.
Thank you, Pastor. Thank you. You remember that before even becoming AyukTabe's lead counsel, I was already on the networks in Douala, fighting our cause. But it became more intensified when I became the lead counsel for AyukTabe. I told it as it is. I said it as it is. And I know that my life and that of my family was in danger. So I did everything to protect not only myself, but my family. And that's why you saw me talking so freely. You see, many people have asked me, How come you spoke so freely and nothing happened to you? Oh, yes, it didn't happen to me because the God I served is a living God. And what I said from the time I started coming out, whether I was on Equinox, whether I was on Afrique Media or STV or whatever, or Canada English and all that, I was inspired by the Almighty because I stood on the side of the truth. And I told them as it is. I told La Republique as it is. Then something suddenly happened on a Monday morning. I got up and I saw a letter written by AyukTabe dissolving the interim government. And beside that same letter, I saw a disclaimer. And that disclaimer was side by side with the letter. So I immediately booked my flight and flew into Yaoundé. And I went and confronted AyukTabe, my client, one of my clients, because I was defending 10 of them. We were defending 10 of them. We, the legal team that the interim government put together. And I was leading that team. I asked him, did you actually write this? He said, yes, I did. I said, but what about the disclaimer? He said, no, that disclaimer, it has nothing to do with it. I said, my God, why did you write this without even telling? If you didn't like me, tell any of the lawyers. He didn't respond to me. So I left and went back to Douala Pastor. And a week later, he called me and said I should come to Yaoundé for a meeting with him. I should bring my assistant, that is Padillon, and I should come to the prison. All 10 of them will be meeting with me. I did not know what was going on, Pastor. That day I got to Yaoundé, I went into prison, and all 10 of them were there. And AyukTabe started talking and talked and talked and talked and talked and talked. And then turned to me and said, Barrister Fru, you are not my personal lawyer. You are not my government's lawyer. And you are only the leading counsel of the Naira 10. My God. My hair stood at end. I held my head and
Directly like that? Directly like that?
yeah, directly in a meeting. I was in that meeting with my assistant, Padillon, and a young lawyer that drove me to that prison. My God. I asked him, what is the difference between the Naira 10 and you? And which government are you talking about? Because I know one interim government. And since you were arrested here, you have somebody acting in your place called Dr. Samuel Ekomesaku. He said, well, I have dissolved that government and now have a new government right here. I said, wonderful. His declarations created a rift among the 10. The 10 split immediately into two. He had his supporters. He had carefully planted one Awasum, one Sufa Berenui, one Kimbi. I don't know. It's about 3 years now. I've forgotten some of them. Those are my clients. And then on the other side was Patasan. Mfongalamfo was sitting there very quiet and looking very innocent. And Pastor Sang stood up and asked him, I don't understand why you are attacking the barrister. What exactly has he done? And this letter that you wrote, did you consult any of the lawyers? Oh, that created, there was almost going to be a fight between Patasang and Awasu. Patasang, let me tell you one thing that I have. Look, Patasang is the only committed Ambazonian patriot in that prison, as I know as of now, among the 10 of them. He has stood his grounds and he continues to stand his grounds. He is my mentor. He is an exemplary citizen of Ambazonia that every child should emulate. He stood his grounds, and when that meeting closed, I came out and I asked for Ngalamfo, what is going on? He said, Barrister, I don't even know me the letter he's talking about. I just flipped my phone and I showed him. He said he did not know anything about it. He just heard it in that meeting. I said, Pa, you are in this prison. You are the most senior. Even if they talk about ranks, AyukTabe was nothing in this struggle. You are the pioneer of this struggle. You should have known what was going on. Means you are not doing your work. How can you just be in prison with people and you don't seem to know what is going on there? He said, my brother, I don't know. I'll find out. I left and went into Yaoundé, living like a fugitive in Yaoundé, like I always do. Sleeping one day in this hotel, another day in that one. And for 1 week, I was investigating what was going on, what was cooking. And I found out, Pastor, I'm telling the story now because I'm no longer their counsel. I don't have any obligation to protect anything.
Yeah.
I went, when you go to a very prominent secondary school like Sacred Heart College that I went to, you tend to have a lot of well-placed individuals in the system. One of them took me out somewhere in a village around Yaoundé and told me exactly what I wanted to hear. And he is in a better place to tell me that because he walked right inside the heart in a 2D. The story is that AyukTabe, through Kamto's lawyer, had been negotiating and talking to Ayolo Mvondo, the director of civil cabinet of La République du Cameroon, by phone. He had a phone in prison that he was communicating with them, and they had the three of them. That the Kamto's lawyer, AyukTabe, and Ayolo Mvondo were always in communication and negotiating. You see, as a lawyer, when I'm representing you in a criminal matter, before you talk to the enemy or you talk to the prosecution or the enemy camp, you have a fiduciary duty to tell those defending you, to tell the lawyers that are working for you what is going on. If you have to produce a document, you must first of all consult with them. This guy, Ayolo Mvondo, had convinced AyukTabe to dissolve the interim government. That's my analysis now. And when I heard this thing, my stomach churned. Right there, I called my office in Douala and I asked them to go and book for me a ticket to Washington. I've been a permanent resident of this country since 2008. So I had my green card. I could go in and come out. So
Yes, I'm getting you.
I left Douala Just 2 days after I returned from Yaoundé, I left Douala for Washington to go and give a report to those who have employed me and that defense team, because it was very, 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 very important that I did. Within those 2 days that I arrived Douala, a call came from Paul Nilong. I will never forget. That's the first person who interviewed me about what was about this the dissolution of the interim government. Of course, I told him I didn't know anything about it. I don't know what is going on, but I'm going to Washington. I will let our president and the interim government to know when I get there, because those are the people that's the man who employed me and the team that you see. I have a duty to go and inform him. So when I got to Washington, I briefed Dr. Sako, and we agreed that Ambazonians need to know this. So I went first on ABC, and I declared our president, His Excellency AyukTabe Julius, has been compromised by La République du Cameroon.
Yeah.
Because he was then, even though in prison, he was still our president. The acting president was Dr. Sako. So I came back from ABC. I came from ABC and I went to Eric Tato's platform. And I know what I was doing because I didn't want anybody to misinterpret me. Because, I am a Southern Cameroonian who grew in the Southern Zone. And I am an all-round Southern Cameroonian. I don't have any vestiges of tribalism or anything, but I cannot exclude others from thinking otherwise. So I went on Eric Tato's show and I said the same thing that I said on ABC. So I stayed in Washington here for about 2 or 3 weeks, and I was going back, my brother. I started going back. Excuse me.
Well, Barrister is coming back to tell us. Okay.
Let me finish. Well, I will be very fast. When I got to Paris, I did not know that as I left Washington Airport, a policeman had been detailed from Cameroon who had been working here looking for me. So he too boarded the same aircraft that I boarded, Air France, because that was the only flight I had when I was leaving Cameroon. That's the only one I could take. So he boarded the same plane with me. I did not know, Pastor. We got to Paris. I went through control and went into Terminal 2, Gate 44, where the Air France flight was loading for Douala. And I had actually checked in there, and a phone and a young lady, a young black lady. As I was sitting there, I had not even opened my phone. As I turned around and opened my phone, I saw 72 missed calls. 72 missed calls. As I was wondering, trying to find out, a young lady just stood in front of me, asked me, "Are you John?" I said, "Yes."
Wow.
She said, "Come with me. Come with me." I walked a few meters away with her, and she called a certain young lady. I owe my life to God and to that young lady. Her name, it was one Ayuk in Paris. She said, "Pa, where are you?" I said, I'm already at Terminal 2. I'm getting ready to board. She said, "Don't enter that flight, because somebody has been calling you. Some policeman has been calling you right from Washington. Just disappear from there and go back to the ticket booth of Air France, and you will get a ticket back to Washington very fast. We have already bought a ticket for you."
Wow.
Well, it turned out that one of my good friends here, who is a businessman, who is a very well-known man, I will not call his name, had bought the ticket.
No, don't call his name.
He had bought a ticket for me. I saw that ticket and I checked. As I was checking in, they asked me whether I have a luggage. I showed the luggage storm that I had left with from Washington. And to my greatest surprise, Pastor, my luggage was still in Paris when when the aircraft had left. I will
Wow.
not tell you how I maneuvered inside that terminal
That is
two.
God. That is God. That is the God of
Alpha.
Ambazonia.
Because I saw the
Right.
policeman, his name is Mbogo, Commissaire Mbogo. I saw him at that terminal
Wow.
two, pretending to look with earphones and pretending to look his phone, but was looking at me. That is the man that was to take me. So I came back to Washington. That's how
Wow.
that's what
Wow.
Pastor.
Wow. Wow. Barrister, thank
That is
you
it.
very much for that information. Thank you very much for that information. That is what is making Ambazonia history. That is part of Ambazonia history. Now, Ambazonians, listen. If you say there is no God at work, how would they have left his luggage in Paris while he was about to board to go to Douala, to La République du Cameroon?
No,
God
let me tell you.
foreknew.
No, let me tell
Yes,
you. Let me tell you, Pastor. God works in a mysterious way. I think
right.
Air France was in the know of what was happening because
Wow.
even though I had checked in, they never announced that I was not in the flight. Number
Hmm.
two, they withheld my luggage because before you, by the time you are entering, after you check in, your luggage is transferred to the plane with a few minutes.
Right.
I mean, before the plane takes off, they never transferred
Mhm.
my luggage. So what happened? They must have known. The French were well aware. Were either they were part of
Of
it
the
or
game
they were
plan.
not. I wouldn't say, but they were well aware of what was happening. But because it is an international flight, because you are protected by international law, they couldn't do anything to me. They couldn't grab me in Paris. They couldn't do anything. So I came back.
Wow. Again, people of Ambazonia, these are some of the tidbits I told you we will be having, because Ambazonia is a land that has been blessed by God, given wisdom and understanding. If you put your ear on the ground and look up to the heavens, as he has done with our president for all these years of coup plotting and so on, he will do it for you. You know, our barrister is one of the important persons that La Republic would have rejoiced that everything is finished. Now, barrister, I will not want to go into the details and the analysis of the shock and the sudden turn of AyukTabe. Now, a lot of people are very ignorant of what you are saying, and the conspiracy theories are going on that he is still fighting for us. But tell us a little bit. Could somebody in that particular situation, in fact, you are talking like not an ear witness, but he spoke to you directly,
Yeah.
and then you turn around and ask the elderly man who was supposed to be the elderly man, who actually was one of the persons who started this fight, what is going on? And he did not know. Anyway, I don't want to go into the position of the rest of the 9 of them, but I just want you to give us, the Ambazonian people, what is the stand of the Ambazonian people for somebody who is not free and is struggling to free a free people from the hands of La République du Cameroon? Is that
Let
feasible?
no.
Over to
Let me
you.
answer you very, very succinctly as a defense lawyer in Cameroon in the French Cameroon in La République du Cameroon. When you are in detention, when you are already been put in prison, you are incapacitated 100%. AyukTabe decided to go on a frolic of his own by using Kamto's lawyer to get to the heart of La Republique, the civil cabinet of the presidency of the Republic. And it's from there that AyukTabe lost every freedom that he thought he was fighting for, because he accepted to do their bidding. Otherwise, how did AyukTabe, where did he get a computer? Where did he get a typewriter or whatever to be able to craft a document like that, dissolving the interim government from prison? I know, because I have a lot of high-profile prisoners who were my clients in prison. They didn't even have telephones. They were not allowed to have telephones. AyukTabe had a telephone. AyukTabe had a computer, and I'm sure he has a printer. That is the day AyukTabe lost everything. Let nobody deceive Ambazonians. AyukTabe represents nothing but one Cameroon. He has sold out. He sold out. And there are 5 prominent prisoners with him. Awasum, Shufai Berenui, Kimbi, you know, I wouldn't, but I know the 5 physically. And the others are quiet. The only Ambazonian, true Ambazonian patriot in that prison is Patasa. Up to today that I'm talking to you, every one of them has sold out, and they have it behind their mind that when they betray the cause, they will be released from prison. It doesn't work that way with La République du Cameroun. Otherwise, since I left, I'm in the 4th year here in the United States, they should have been released by now. It was the day that AyukTabe's political career, if he ever had any, because I know him for being a teacher, university teacher, teaching computer science in American University in Yola, in Nigeria. I had never known him in this struggle. He was never anybody in the struggle. So he was not a politician. But at least as a teacher, as somebody who has some common sense, he should have known, knowing the way that him and the 9 others were treated. He should have known that he cannot negotiate himself out of prison. Only the free will be able to bring AyukTabe out of prison. All what he's talking about, our independence is non-negotiable. That is a total lie. He has sold out. I am a living witness. Until
Thank you very much, Barrister.
If I die tomorrow, he can make that story. Nobody will contradict him. I'm still living, and I will contradict him day in, day out. When all those statements that he's making, they are gimmicks. They have nothing. They have no meat attached to it. AyukTabe is a sellout. Because if he was not a sellout, he would have told me the truth. He would have confided in me, and we would have come out with a solution. I would not have allowed him to dissolve the interim government. The only thing that we have, the only government that replaces the Ngomjoa government, I wouldn't have allowed that to happen. I would have told him, hold back. And if these people want to negotiate, they will come and see the lawyers.
Thank you very much. Pam, I think that it is very, very important for us to connect this history, because this is just history repeating itself. And I do not know whether some of our people, especially those who have refused to learn from history, if you take from 1961, when they came in and tried to capture us, the coup that they planned and the promises they made to Estimuna, who was believing that he was going to be the next in control, at the end of the day, it failed him woefully. He retired to his grave in big sorrow to have betrayed the whole of the Ambazonian people. And of course, the Honorable Dr. Foncha had to write, before going to his grave, his regrets. I do not know whether our people actually watch out with this history and this historical fact, because La Republique will never, because they are not controlled by themselves, it's France that tells them what to do. La Republique will never give AyukTabe and the rest of the people in prison what they want. Now, we can see example of those who are outside who betrayed our cause, people like Ayeke, when they stood out and did what they did. At the end of the day, La Republique killed them. And we can count and count and count and count. La Republique does not tell the truth for one moment. Now, recently they got up and said they want to do this and do that. A road that Barr promised to supervise is a clear indication of the lies. They cannot just got up suddenly in the morning today and then they will change. It's not possible. So let's leave that side of these people in prison, and the advice the Ambazonian history has to tell them and remind them is that La Republique will never free you, no matter what you do. They will never free you. If they were to free you, the people in DDR would have been examples of the freedom. Nambere, no matter how they call himself, he would have been one of the persons to demonstrate to the Ambazonian people that these people can really maintain their words. But that's Nambere ranting and ranting there. That is this other one, they call him what, Kungo, whatever. They are all ranting, telling the Ambazonians that our truthfulness, our honesty is nothing to write home with La Republique of Cameroon. And now it is still going on. All right, let's come back home. Now, Barrister, from the time these people were adopted and you got into this interim government, first of all, as a defense counsel over there with them. Later on, you came over and then you joined the crew. And now you are in the team of those who are moving forward with Ambazonia. Remember that whatever we do now, which is current events, is moving into history. Once this is past, it becomes history. Tell us, in a very few words, when we did not know some of the people that I not want to mention their names now, 2018, 2019, and the early part of 2021, 2020, 2021, when we were working as if we were working in harmony, not knowing that we had caterpillars in the house, and you were there, can you tell us the achievement and the development and what this interim government has put in place for the Ambazonian people? And if this interim government was not there, can you, from your knowledge and from your world of experience and your knowledge of legalism and legal whatever, I'm sorry if I don't use the word correctly, can you tell us where we would have been if this interim government, don't go into 2021, the early part of it, around April, forget that one, we'll come to that if time permits. but just tell us 2018, 2019, and 2020. What has happened to the Ambazonian people, the history. You have the microphone.
2018, AyukTabe and 9 others were abducted from Naira Hotel. And AyukTabe organized that meeting. You know, first fool is a fool, is a fool, but first fool is not a fool, but second fool is a real fool. AyukTabe betrayed his people when he organized that meeting, because till today he has not told anybody the raison d'etre of that meeting in Naira Hotel. I know the raison d'etre. I'm not going to talk about it now. Now, from 2018, the acting interim president, Dr. Samuel Sako, put together the self-defense mechanism. We know what happened. He asked for was it $2 million in my trip to Boya, and he got only $811,000.
Yes, it was 2 million. Yes,
all
got
that
only 800.
money,
Yeah.
the people that AyukTabe had put in place, Dr. Sako did not replace them, and that was, I would say that at that time he was still an academic, Mr. Common Sense, but he was not a politician, because a good politician would have purged all those people, but he left a certain Michel Tabeyan as the treasurer and the finance whatever, and they organized and swindled that money. The interim government stood firm. An audit was called, and the thieves ran away. They didn't want to show up in the audit, in spite of the fictitious figures that they presented all over the place, including even figures of the defense of AyukTabe for lawyers in Nigeria and lawyers in Cameroon. They were talking about 120,000 or 100 and whatever thousand. Now, this interim government was born by God in Nigeria, and it has stood the test of time from all the crises that it has gone through. So Dr. Sako organized this self-defense without any money. And gradually, he came, he brought in this thing they call the Amba, the draft, the war draft. An excellent idea to raise money for the war. And that solidified the interim government and its defense mechanism on the ground. And I'm telling you, without that, we would have gone nowhere, because when Paul Biya moved his troops into Manu, precisely in Mamfe, they were gunning down young people, or they were killing people every day and in masses. And these boys were fighting only with sticks and cutlasses. And that's when I heard for the first time a name called Odeshi. You don't want to know. You and I, we are Christians. We don't know what Odeshi means, but
right.
Suffice
but
to
it
say,
exists.
it existed. Mm-hmm. These boys were being slaughtered every day, and that gave all the 13 counties an opportunity to join the fight, and bam, it took off. And it needed a leader, and that leader was available, Dr. Sako. And when AyukTabe did what he did by dissolving the interim government and so on, this government reorganized and conducted elections. to replace the interim president. And that's how Dr. Sako won the election by landslide and became the interim president. That is when this government was completely solidified. And this government has stood the test of time. We've gone through all kinds of crises. Look, I saw this crisis of Chris Anu coming when he launched his letter sometime in April 2020.
21. I say we should not. I say we should not go there. We should end in 2020. We are coming. We will come to that when you come back to plan.
I'm not going there. I'm just saying that even that was foreseen, but not by some of us who had lived through thick and thin.
Right.
But a majority of us did not see that. At any rate, this government, if this government was not in place, Pastor, there will be no struggle today. La Republic would have overrun us, and we will be worse than what we were before the war started.
Right. Right.
I'm saying that, let anybody contradict me. If this interim government was not in place, and as solid as it is now, that this revolution, this so-called revolution or struggle would not have taken off. In fact, La Republic would have run us down, and all of us will become either refugees everywhere around the world,
slaves.
or stay in La Republic of Cameroon as slaves. I tell you, they would have done exactly what they did to Bamileke people to us. In fact, they have done worse to us yet. But we are still standing strong because of this interim government. And we are still fighting. Bamilekes gave up the fight because they could not. All of them were arrested, slaughtered, imprisoned, and so on. It would have happened even worse to us. I'm saying that without this interim government, any Southern Cameroonian who was dreaming of having independence should have long since forgotten it and would have been a captured people. And La Republic would tell the world that we have now captured the Southern Cameroons.
Okay. Thank you very much, Barrister. Let's fast forward. And in fast forward, we are going backwards. Now,
yes.
The Maquisards in the former East Cameroon who ran and crossed over to West Cameroon, what would you say that it was the impediment, the obstruction from them being extracted from West Cameroon back to East Cameroon? What was the boundary effects or whatever? Let me leave you there.
Look, Pastor, let me tell you something. These are people who came to us running away from La Republique of Cameroon as refugees.
Meaning that West Cameroon was a different country from La Republique of Cameroon?
Of course.
Okay.
We have a self-government from 1954.
Right.
And I'm telling you that these people ran away as refugees from La Republique of Cameroon and came to our territory. And we, being the English civilized people, we accepted every one of them, gave them land, gave them settlement, gave them everything. And some of them integrated themselves in such a way that they were just like citizens of the Southern Cameroons. I will talk about Banji Kaminkumba, who was the Director General of the Cameroon Development Agency under the Southern Cameroon government. That is a Bamileke man. I think from Bafang or wherever. but he was born and bred in Kumba. So they integrated themselves into us. And when this fight came, they remembered that they had their country. Not all of them, though, because I have a very good friend of mine who was with me in Cameroon Anglophone movement, who has been fighting. He's still fighting to today. He's an old man. Pazumafo, I salute you. He's somewhere in Victoria. He is a die-hard Southern Cameroonian, even though a Bamileke man. And there are a few of them like that. But majority of them thought that it was their country. Now they had to betray us. We had a distinct boundary between La République du Cameroon and us. We still have that boundary up to now. The stones are still there, Pastor. We have a distinct boundary, and we were two countries, and we are still two countries. That is why any negotiation between us and La République du Cameroon will be from government to government.
Right. Okay.
Thank
you very much, Barrister.
Yes, the two governments will negotiate the end of this fight.
Okay. Now, yes, I just wanted to find out about that so that our audience, because we have some young people, I met them a few days ago, and they were telling me that when I was saying happy independence to La République du Cameroon, they were saying, no, La République got independence in 1961 together with us, and they were young men. And I told them
Let me clarify that. Let me clarify that. Let me clarify that. For these young people, they should know that the Republic had its independence on 1st of January 1960.
Right.
And the Southern Cameroons had their own independence on the 1st of October 1961. After a vote of the United Nations in Resolution 1608, 64 countries voted for our independence, 23 against and 10 abstentions. That is history.
Yeah.
And there's nobody who can change that. If we ever go into any union, I have always said that there was no union because La République refused to execute the terms of Resolution 1608 because they didn't vote for it. They didn't vote for it. France didn't vote for it. All the Francophone countries except Mali did not vote for our independence because they were all under the French influence. Mali said no, and Mali voted for our independence. So we had independence, voted on the 21st of April 1961 by Resolution 1608 of the United Nations, and the conditions found in paragraph 5 actually said the policies to be applied and how the government will be run will be decided in a conference to be chaired by the United Nations, by the colonial masters, France and La République and Southern Cameroon's government. That never happened. It never happened.
Right.
So that resolution, all of it was never executed by La République du Cameroon. Therefore, there was no joining. There has never been joining. Britain and France, I don't know what game they played. These guys came on the 30th of September in the middle of the night and entered and invaded Southern Cameroon and took over Southern Cameroon. And the Union Jack that was lowered in Boya was instead handed to Ahijo instead of to Foncha.
Yeah. That's the history we are talking about. Yes. That's the history we are talking about.
That is where things went messy.
Yeah.
Till today,
continue.
The world is telling La République. Let me finish. The world is telling La République You have to negotiate with Southern Cameroon's Ambazonia like a government and a government negotiating. Anything short of that is unacceptable. That's what the world is telling La Republique. I hope they are listening.
Yeah, we know that La Republique has been hiding under France and been doing terrible things. And because France is corrupt and is corrupting, trying to corrupt everybody, like we have been under them for the past 60-something years, our eyes are open and the eyes of the world are open. And we are praying that the eyes of the youths of the French, of the La République du Cameroon also should be open so that they can cut off from France and help themselves. All right, what I wanted to find out when I talked about the Maquisards crossing over Barrister, does it mean that at that time, Ahidjo obeyed the international laws that when a person runs away and gets into a country as a refugee, he should not be pursued there and taken back to the country of its persecution, like it happened in Naira 10 in Nigeria?
Let me correct something. Those who ran into the southern Cameroons were not only Maquisards, even though there were Maquisards among them, whatever the La Republique was calling Maquisards, but bona fide Bamileke people left because their people were slaughtered and they could not stand it. They ran away. And these are people who ran away as refugees and they came into southern Cameroon and they were integrated without any problem. And Ahidjo respected international law by not pursuing them and entering La Republique, the southern Cameroon, because if he did, it would have been violating the international law and Britain would not take it. I hope then. So they stayed away. They never pursued any Bamileke man right into the southern Cameroons. That's what I want to explain. Because Ahidjo respected international law. But look at what Nigeria did. Look at what Nigeria did to us. They refused to respect international law. They took our leaders who were refugees and asylum seekers in Nigeria, and not only that, our citizens in Taraba State and in Calabar, they bundled them and sent them back to Yaoundé to be killed. In violation of the International Convention on the Protection of Refugees and Asylum Seekers of 1951. That convention is still there. Nigeria violated it. And in doing it, they violated their own constitution.
Yeah. Thank you very much, Barrister. We have very current history that is going on, which is actually current events that have turned into history. And I would like you to promise the Ambazonian people that you will be coming back here one of these days to continue with this episode of our Amba history. Now, if you promise the Ambazonian people, you can say your concluding word because our time is up.
Over. All right, I promise that I will come back as soon as the pastor invites me to continue with this. And I'm very disappointed that I've not received any questions from our listeners. But I hope that I hope that next time.
Don't be disappointed. There are a lot of them who are writing here. Because our time is gone, I will keep some of the things they are writing, which are questions. And then when we come back the next program, I might start with those questions. For example, somebody just asked that, who is the real president of Ambazonia? So we will not talk about that now. No, don't talk about that now.
No. I cannot let that fly.
Yes.
The president of the Federal Republic of Ambazonia is Dr. Samuel Ekomesako. There are no two.
Yes.
There are no two.
Okay.
Anybody parading out there, anybody parading out there that is the president of the whatever is a criminal. It's a runaway plotter.
We know that one country cannot have more than one president at the same time.
Exactly.
But we have seen the corruption of La Republique du Cameroon and trying to influence this corruption into Ambazonia. and there are a lot of questions arising from there. But I promise you, we will look into it in the next episode that you will be coming in. So you have already promised the Ambazonian people that you are coming back. So just say your concluding words to the Ambazonian people. I will call it quit.
Thank you very much, Pastor. Dear Ambazonians, dear Restoration Forces, I want to say that I thank you for listening to me now. And secondly, that this year is a year of acceleration, a year of our final liberation fight. We have to give it our all. When I mean final, I don't mean that the war may not end, but we would have continued where we stopped in 2021 when the coup plotters halted us. I want you also to know that that was the time that if I didn't die then, I still have some time, because it affected me so badly. I could not sleep with what I was seeing unfolding with my eyes. Dear Ambazonians, since then, we have bounced back, and the interim government is and continues to be in control. And you are the reason why the interim government exists. You are the reason why we are fighting. We want to give your children and your children's children a country they can call their own. Some of us may never see it, but rest assured that you will have your country where you will be a full citizen and you will be calling the shots in your country. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Barrister. Thank you very much, Barrister, for coming in today to brief us on our Amba history. I wish we had more time, but you have promised the people of Ambazonia that you are coming back. I'll hold you to your word, and when at the background, I will call you, and then we'll talk on when you are coming in, so that I can announce to the people of Ambazonia. But tomorrow we are going to have Barrister Timothy Biseha to talk not on legal issues, but to talk on our Amba history, because he is also one of the persons that witnessed the history. Like Barrister said here, that what he is talking about AyukTabe is not what he heard. I mean, he was there present. He's an eye and an ear witness. So we'll be coming to that. But meanwhile, there is this sister who is saying that, Pastor, will you go without me telling me to remember and remind the people of Ambazonia? Sister, come in.
Everywhere you go, come, let us rejoice and declare, hallelujah.
Yes, we are remembering the goodness of the Lord for us in Ambazonia, and our history will not be hidden again. The goodness of UNVDA, the goodness of WADA, the goodness of our hydroelectricity power in Yoke, the goodness of Cameroon Bank, the goodness of our Tico WAF, and the the goodness of our Tico Airport, Manfe Airport, the goodness of the natural wealth in Victoria. Thank you, sister, for reminding us for the goodness of the Lord in Ambazonia. Meanwhile, don't go away. In the next few minutes, the hour of freedom will be coming your way from ABC Amba TV.
That is why all of me